Welcome everyone. Today we'll be discussing on business unit level strategies. If you look into it, this will be giving an overview of various strategies that has been implemented for a business to be successful, competitive, and being relevant at the same time. So let us look forward to the next approximately half an hour of this particular presentation. We will completely know the operations and the viability of a business thereby. So business unit level strategic as the case might be. So what we will talk about? We will talk about the SAFAS. That's one of those outshoot of SWOT approach. SWOT being uh, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Remember, strength and weaknesses of an organization, and opportunities and threats that an organization is supposed to mitigate. Things like that. And we will try to build an SFAS. Probably, I'll give you an overview of it with a one slide, but you will should be able to understand what SFA S matrix is all about it. So then thereafter we'll take a look into competitive and cooperative strategies, and thereby the competitive tactics that the company actually employs in a day-to-day operation. Lastly, we'll wipe up with the basic alliances that the strategies purposes organizations employs around it. So we will have an overview of business level strategies as far as a company is concerned, and believe me or not, these strategies you need to tune it, prune it to the requirement of your industry, to the requirement of your company per se. So, yes, situation analysis begins with SWOT. The SWOT approach tells you about what exactly is your company's mission, vision, objectives is all about it. So it will talk about the formulation part, and this we cannot have a formulation of strategy until and unless I know what are my good points and what are my weak points. When I say mine is the organization we are talking about, in fact, you can also extend it to the personal approach. Then comes the situational analysis, and this is where we have to talk about the situation. Remember, situation is outside a person, outside an organization. So yes, strategy formulation is what am I good at, what I am not so good at, and how the environment is reacting, what are the opportunities it's been presenting, and what are the strengths that can be helping us to capitalize upon it. Thereby the opposite also states to be exactly true as far as the threats are concerned. How do we look into it? Yes, the acronym for SWOT is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And I've been trying to tell it to you. Please extend it to your companies. Each company is unique because each company's unique selling proposition or competitive advantages would be different altogether. So we have the strategies based upon the capacity and the opportunity that is provided. Opportunity has absolutely no values until and unless you actually take an advantage of it. So yes, I have an idea, I have a perfect opportunity, but if I did not capitalize on it, I could not implement the ideas. Will I see success? Probably not. The idea remains in my brain or in the vision part of it. So you need to implement it. You need to execute your ideas, and that is what opportunity is all about. Remember, anything that is there existing on this particular planet, there will be a contrarian view. So we should also anticipate the negative viewpoints also. So let us visit the negativity of SWOT. Now remember, it's just an opinion. uh, because I as a company, I as an individual, I have an opinion that this is my strength and this is my weakness. Probably I might not be true to the judgment. Probably the weakness I do have might be capitalized upon. Also, we can exploit that weakness, and in fact, my weakness might not be existent. It is there always in the mind. So virtually everything that is strength is also a weakness. Definitely yes. So I've my communication skill is good. It's my strength, but what happens if the audience doesn't understand my language despite my effective communication skill? It becomes a weakness. So, virtually everything that is an opportunity is also a threat. Definitely, that is what I would like to tell it to you with an example that I've provided. Adding layers to the effort does not improve the validity of the first thing that comes around it. Definitely, yes. Now we continue to talk about the criticism thereby. So it's a single point in time approach. So as of this moment, this is my strength, but probably in 10 days time, 10 weeks time, 10 months time, or 10 years time, that probably that might be augmented with a number of strength, and there might be the strength which might have been already enhanced or surpassed my existing strength as such. So at this point of time, it might be true, but it not be valid in a due course of time. So it's a single point in time approach. There's no tie to the view of the customers. There is no validated evaluation approach that we keep on facing around it. Did I say about SFAS matrix? Yes, strategic factor analysis summary that we'll go it in the next slide eventually. Basically, it summarizes, or should I say, it comprehends every factors that a company should be good at it, and probably then we come from an EFAS table. EFAS is environmental factor analysis summary. So what is the strategic factor analysis? Is my good points, my weak points, and what are the opportunity and threat that the environmental factor analysis possesses or presents. Now, if we can marry it and if we can capitalize on it, definitely this is what we are looking as a case. Here is a point which I'm talking about it. Remember, this is my internal strategic factors and external strategic factor. Based on these two combination, we come up with an SAFS. So what do we have? We have factors. Let's say my communication skill might be good. Let's say I might be very punctual. I'm talking about an individual. Please extrapolate it to your companies as things like that. So I have a number of factors which are my strength. My weakness, obviously, yes, probably. I might say there might be a lot of weaknesses. Probably I might not be good looking. Probably I might have an accent to my communication and so on and so forth, as the case might be. So this is my weakness and these are my strength. And based upon it, we have to give a weightage, which is to be a prime weightage. So basically, if we love ice cream, for example, if I love ice cream, should I go to a particular brand or particular shop, and why do I go to a particular shop or particular brand? The answer is, it might be the taste of the ice cream, or it might be the price of the ice cream. So that is the weightage that needs to be taken around it. Yes, this is what we are looking at, the weightage and the ratings. And the rating is how the person views around it. So if we can multiply the rating and weightage, we get an accumulated things. Now, what is happening in the weightage part? It should be varying from 0 to 1. Eventually, the scale should be varied from 0 to 1, so that in totality it should come into 1. Similarly, the case for opportunities and threats. Similarly, you will be having a weightage and rating, and you will have an eventual score out here. This is the eventual score. And if we marry it out, we will have the strategic factor analysis. Again, the same thing as far as what can be done and what we are good at it. And based upon it, this is the weightage that comes around it, and you will have an idea what you should be doing. What is the next step that things takes around it. So in brief, strategic factor analysis summary, definitely this is what we will be talking around it. So finding a propitious niche. Now we need to understand, as a company, as an organization, as an individual, if we want to excel, we have to find a certain thing that we are good at it, and certain things which nobody else can provide other than us. So a well-suited firm's internal and external environment that a corporation are not likely to be challenged or dislodged. Did I say some things which we are good at it, something which nobody else can offer? So basically, we are looking for a propitious niche around it. So unique marketing opportunities that is available at a particular point of time. Mind you, it's a particular point of time. As of today, it might be a thing, but tomorrow there might be somebody else who can be usurping us, right? Why? Because of a lower scale, lower pricing, whatever the case might be. So review of the mission and objective is a re-examination of the organization current marketing situation. Can be generated, definitely. Can be inappropriate, narrow, or too broad mission statement and objective that comes around here. So we'll talk about the business strategies one by one. Remember, it's a business unit level strategies that we are talking around it. Focuses on improving the competitive position of the companies or business units, products or services within the specific industry or market segment that the company or the business unit level serves. Now, this is what we are looking as a competitive and cooperative natures are concerns around it. This is what is to be done every now and then. So competitive strategies raises the following question. Should we compete on the basis of lower cost? Now, this is what you're looking at. Is the market price sensitive? So competitive matrix have two questions that needs to be raised, and probably you have to go around it. Or should we focus only on the quality of the product or the services that we are looking into it? We are not giving due weightage to the price of the product. Did I say about the preference of an ice cream? Should I be visiting that particular shop or retail outlet where the ice cream tastes good, or that particular outlet where the ice cream is cheapest. So depends on my viability, my opinion, my concept. Similarly, for the company has to decide, should it offer a product at a lower price, or should it never compromise on the quality of the product as such. Yes, the next question is, should we compete head to head with major competitor? So yes, do we have the enough willpower, enough pocket power? When I say pocket power, the finances that comes around it. Can we take head on head with our competitors? Remember, the competitors might be much bigger in size or much smaller in size, as the case might be, or might be equal to our size altogether. So you need to understand the most sought after share of the market, or should we go for less sought after? Why less sought after? Because it means we are not going to spend on freebies. That means the marketing effort would be less. We are looking focused into a niche market, niche audience. So I might be servicing within 5 kilometers or 5 mile of my retail outlet. So if that is the thing, so let's sort of the market, right? Beyond that, I will not be looking anything. So what is the strategy that I am going to employ? Is it a head-to-head competition, or is it a less sort of a competition? The first one was on based on cost. The second one was based on quality. Third one is head-to-head, taking the bull by its horn, or looking into a blue ocean strategies where there are absolutely the market is not cluttered. So, competitive strategies are of cost leadership and differentiation. Remember, it's an ability of the company or the business to design or produce or market a comparable product with much lesser cost and efficiently than the competitions. Thereby, that is what the cost leadership would be going around it. So I can increase my profitability by increasing the margin or reducing the cost. Another thing is differentiation is the ability of that company to provide unique and superior values of the buyers in terms of product quality, special features, and after sales services. Is that what we are looking at it? Remember, it's the ability of the company to provide unique, superior values to the buyers in terms of product quality and special features, which might be there. So, how do we go for the focus part? Now, this is what I have said. I can decide upon the 5 kilometer or 5 mile of radius around my retail outlet. That can be the focus, or I might focus on the lower end of the market, probably which are costing less than 50 cents or less than a dollar's pricing, or at the higher end of the market, which may be pinching a pocket around approximately $59 or $69 or $79 per product, as the case might be. Similarly, that is what the niche market is all about. It niche market is highly at the higher end or absolutely at the lower end. It's a mass market that we are looking at. So ability to compare to provide unique and superior value to a particular buyer group segment of the market in line or in geographic market that we are looking out here. So Porter's proposed that a firm's competitive advantage in an industry should be determined by the competitive scope. Now, this is based on the ability of the companies or the ability of the business, how good we are. Did I say about the willpower or the pocket power? It is based upon that. Based upon that only, you should always make a competitions or take a competitive advantages depending upon your abilities or competitive scope thereby. So we can have cost leadership. That means lower cost competitive strategies that is probably aimed at a mass market, requires aggressive construction of efficient scale of facilities, vigorous pursuits of cost, reductions of experiences, tight cost, overhead control, avoidance of marginal cost, customers account, and cost minimization. Provides a defense against rivals, provides a barrier to entry, and generate increased market share. This is what we are looking forward to. So one would be cost, would be absolutely at the lowest cost producers, absolutely at the lowest cost producer. How can we do it with the help of customization? Yes, when we are talking about customization, we are looking at a mass production, but selling it according to the audience, right? Pricing it according to the pocket power of the audience or the clients or the customer that we are looking into it. Or the second one will be completely different. It is differentiation. So now there we are putting a value to the brand that comes around it. The moment you name the product, there is an ascribed value given to it. Now this can be associated, this can be due to the marketing effort, this can be due to the quality of the product, this can be because of a host of many things that comes around it. Let's say we are talking about design, brand image, technology, features, dealer network, customer services. Now, these are the unique abilities that comes around it. So I might have a product which might have an after sales service for next 1,000 days. 1,000 days is approximately 3 years, right? So that is what we are looking into, is as in differentiation. Lower customer sensitivity to price, increased buyer loyalty can generate higher profitability of the company, as the case might be. So yes, Porter's competitive strategies are cost focused, absolutely low cost competitive strategies that focus on a particular buyer, geographic markets, attempts to serve only niche to the exclusion of the others. Whereas on the differentiation, focus should be considered on a particular buyer group, product segment, or geographic market to serve the needs of a narrow strategic market more effectively than its competitor. So one is on a cost orientations, which we are looking into a particular audience, a particular profile of the customer. It can be higher end or it can be lower end. And in the differentiation product, we are looking at a particular things and nowhere else. Absolutely. And how do we differentiate? We are differentiated the product itself. In this case, we are differentiated the product itself, the product line segment, and serve the narrow strategic market more effectively than the competitors. So now, risk in competitive strategies. Every time we adopt a strategy, there is a risk, and that is what we need to understand before embarking upon a business operation, right? So a company follows a differentiation strategies, must ensure that the higher price it charges for high quality is not too far above the price of the competition. Otherwise, customer will not see that extra quality as a worth of an extra cost. So it should be the value for money that we are looking at it. You need to benchmark it with the quality, it need to benchmark it with the pricing power, it need to benchmark with the brand, and so on and so forth. So then another problem that comes around often is a company usually says they are mimicking the products and they're just manufacturing it for the sake of manufacturing and flooding the market in the sense that people will actually see and purchase it. But then this is supposed to be doomed because there are average performances, or there are no differentiation. So you have a renowned brand name and you have a non-renowned brand name, a local brand name, having the same product at the same price, more or less at the same product. So customer will obviously prefer for the renowned brand name as such. Remember, so this is stuck in the middle that needs to be taken care of. So successful entrepreneurial ventures has to have the following strategies. One is of to differentiate the product. Yes, if you're competing with a renowned brand name, can you price it competitively, much more competitively, so that there is an extra attraction for the customer to vouch for your product? Or give the quantity wise, the product wise, and dollops of it, be generous about the quantity. Probably then the customer will see a value in your thing. So we need to look into it, about these differentiations in the product or the service, until and unless you attain something called a dominant share about here. If you don't attend it, you don't help it around. So industry structures and competitive strategies is a fragmented industry. Many small, medium-sized companies compete for relatively small shares of the total market. Products are typically in the early stage of product life cycle. Focus strategies are used, definitely yes. I would love to use these focus strategies because then I have defined my product and defined the audiences before it. Based upon it, that is the only focus that I'm going to go around it, right? So you need to take this thing into consideration. In a fragmented market, probably we can only have a small share of the things, but remember, the amount of marketing that we do, it should be competitive with the revenue that it generates. So you have to look into the industry structures and the competitive strategies thereby. And then there are some industry which is dominated by absolutely monopolized by few large companies. Now, premium of the firm is to achieve cost leadership, and this is where you have to look into it. In such a case where there's been dominated by certain industry, the only thing that you can do if you want to make a dent into that market share, it's only the costing part which has to be taken care of. You should ensure that you are producing a quality product at a lower cost and probably offering it the same discount to the end customer. we talk about the strategic rollout. Probably this is where we have in mid 90s. One way to go about increasing our market share is to have an organic way of growth or an inorganic way of growth. Organic way where you go on your own, invest more of your money, deploy a lot of capital, and then probably garner a larger market share. On the other hand, it can be inorganic where you actually consolidate or probably amalgamate other companies with your operation, and that is where involves larger firms. They basically operate a typical formula that this is to invent, or basically the objective is to reinvent the entire industry. So when we usurp other companies, or where we should I say merge other companies altogether, merge other companies and form a bigger company, that means definitely our market share is going to improve, market power is going to be influenced much more effectively, and this is what the strategic rollout comes around it. These were the cases of mergers and acquisitions in 1990. So hyper competitive and competitive advantage sustainability. Competitive advantage in a hyper competitive market is characterized by continuous series of multiple short-term initiative that replace current product with a new product before competitors can actually do so. This is what we are looking out here as far as competition is concerned. So sustained competitive advantage is increasingly a matter, not a single advantage maintained over time, but more a matter of sequencing advantage. When I say sequencing, please do not get mix it up. A common word would be prioritizing it. So SCA is sustained competitive advantage, is not a single point over a time, single point advantage over a time, right? It is a continuous process, continuous point of time over a period of time. So it's a single sequencing advantages over a time as a period. So you keep on prioritizing. So just an example for it, I might have a smaller market share. Now, how do I increase the market share? Is to offer a promotions, right? Offer a promotion. Once I offer a promotion, market share increases marginally, but I now have to enhance my quality of the products also. So one of the sustainable competitive advantages was I was giving it a discount. There was a promotion around it. In the next point of time, I am sustaining on the quality and maintaining the quality, and thereby sustaining the market share around it. So it's a number of things that goes around. The prioritizing it has to go around it. Probably the third phase is wherever I maintain the quality, and but probably I will have an influencer or a brand ambassador coming in and vouching for my brand also altogether. So this is again looking into a wider audiences. I am also enhancing the market share steadily and probably. So initially I started with a discount, then I maintain the quality, and then probably a larger influencer or brand ambassador. So sequencing advantage over a period of time. I hope everybody understands what I was trying to tell. Now, this is where we come into the cooperative strategies. Is basically to when we take advantages of two, three, four companies in working together and probably coming up in reducing cost and probably passing the benefits to the customer. This is a win-win situation for all the firms. Now, talking about all the firms, people might be saying, how can you compete with, or how can you cooperate with the competitors? Probably yes, probably no. At times, what I can do is with my competitors, I can say, why don't you flood your products with my flood your retail outset or your supply chain with my things also, with my product also, or vice versa. So what has been happening? I am not spending much of our time on supply chain or in building a dealers network or a wholesalers network or a retailer network. All the other companies might not be doing it. So what we are reducing the cost, yes, and I am also sharing the cost based on them. So even they are sharing it, even they are reducing the cost, there's a win-win advantage for both of us. And at the end of the day, the end customers, whoever chooses the product wins. Right? So there's no biasness. So we can have a gain competitive in which we are taking cooperation with the competitors itself. On the other hand, we can always have a partners in the sense of vendors who can pitch in making a part of the product and then probably assembling it and selling it out. So it's a collusion, it's a strategic alliances that comes around it as far as competitive advantage is concerned. Remember, the active cooperation of firm within an industry to reduce outputs, raise prices to avoid economic supply on demand is what collusion is going around it. Something which we actually see when people restrict the number of products quantity and create an artificial shortages. Now, why this has been done? Because there's a collusion between the companies altogether to jack up the prices. This is where you need to have those restrictive trade practices laws been in place, and probably the government should chip in. Now, there is strategic alliances that I have told you with things. This is where we keep on saying, we keep on mentioning the fact that a strategic long-term cooperative arrangement between two or more independent parts of a business unit that engage with business activities for mutual economic gains. The example that is solicited with the supply chain, the retail, the wholesale, the dealers network, somebody's network, the other company is also employing it, enjoying it, and they are reducing their cost. In fact, they are sharing the cost as far as the service is concerned. It's a win-win situation. So there is a mutual service consortia. There's a joint ventures agreement or the licensing agreement where you agree that this has to be done, or you have got to display my product in your retail outlet. The value chain partnership that we goes around it. So we have a weak to distance or strong to close methodology that comes around. So the reasons, basically, first and foremost thing, there are basic reasons that goes around it. First and foremost thing is to understand there is a new capability, so I can get focused onto a particular application. Probably if I am employing somebody else supply chain, I will understand how it operates. Yes. Next is to obtain access to specific market. Definitely yes, that means if somebody's a retail outlet, I can put on my product, push my products out there, nothing like it. So it's an access to a specific market. Reduces financial risk. Definitely yes, my cost has been reduced because I am employing somebody's supply chain, or somebody is employing my supply chain. So he or she or the company has to actually bear the cost, right? So reduce financial risk for the company or for me, and reduce political risk. This is basically in terms of cooperation. Remember, whenever we form alliances, we already garner support. So that means less of a political interference, and so on and so forth. So mutual service consortium, what does it happen? It is about the similar companies, the similar industry. Example, I have already stated that pool their resources. My example was supply chain. To gain a benefit that is too expensive to develop alone, probably why develop the whole retail network altogether, the whole dealer network altogether alone, such as to access the advanced technology. And this is what we comes around it. It's a mutually beneficial services for either of the firm, the one who is lending the services or utilizing the thing, and the other one who is not building it up. So the person who is lending the services will be getting a reduced cost because he is lending in lieu of something. That is the cost that is to be done around it. And the company which is not building a dealers network will be having a ready-made market or ready access to the market immediate basis. So we can have a joint ventures as a cooperative business activities, usually formed by two different companies. Remember, for a strategic purpose, that creates independent business entity as such. So what happens is company A, company B, they amalgamate or they form company C. Now, just an example, a bank, company A being a bank, a company B be a financial instrument, let's say an insurance product, insurance company. So they both of them form a company C, wherein the bank's retail network has been utilized to sell the insurance product, for example. So that is what allocates ownership, and whatever business has been generated by company C will be equally divided by to company A and company B, as in the case might be. So ownership, operational responsibility, financial risk, rewards to each of the member while preserving the separate identity and autonomy. And this is what we are looking at it. This is exactly what is joint venture is. So everybody is doing their core services at the same time they are exploiting each other's benefit, and probably come up with much more profitable thereby. Licensing arrangement, on the other hand, would be where company A will give an outright licenses to the company B, for which they will be charged a royalty, something which happens on a daily basis. You have a lot of franchising agreement or franchises in your locality that which you can see it and which you can understand. So licensing agreement arrangement is completely very legal, very easy, and very effective to Then we have the value chain partnership, which is strong, close alliances in which a company unit forms a long-term arrangement with a key supplier or distributor for mutual advantage. Definitely, yes, this is where it's the value chain partnership. It becomes a business operation in which it's a win-win situation from everybody, the supplier, the vendors, anybody who is working in the company would keep on working it for next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, as the case might be, until and unless everybody is happy. So before we wind up, you remember SA, SFAS is Strategic Factors Alliances matrix that we are talking about it. Now this is what we need to go around it. It is means to have a clear strategic purpose. Alliance factors are absolutely. I give an example of a bank and an insurance. Remember, the common theme was money. It was the financial things, both the bank and the insurance. Finding a fitting partner is something which is very important. Identifying the risk, very important. Allocating the task and responsibility so that each partner understand what they are good at it and how they are exploiting it for mutual benefit. Minimizing the conflict, as the cases might be, by clarifying objectives to the finest details and avoiding direct competition. They should not be cross-selling each other. The insurance company should not be aspiring to become a bank. Neither the bank should be aspiring to become an insurance agent in the longer term. In an international alliances, the magic have a comprehensive cross-cultural functioning, a cross-cultural knowledge. Um, Never allow egos to dominate in such kind of things. Operate on a longer, and if I say longish horizons altogether. Develop multiple joint products so that a failure which is counterbalanced with the success of others. Agree on a monitoring process. Be flexible in the time of for the willingness to renegotiate the relationship. And definitely, last but not the least, always agree on an exit strategy. Remember, it is it doesn't make sense to have a burnt relationship. You should not burn the bridges. Probably have an exit policy in place in the first hand. This is always assuring from for either of the partners as far as the businesses are concerned. With these words, I would love to wind up this particular presentation. Thank you for watching the video.